next step we're doing is we're literally going to be, and this will finish off stage 1, because remember we're going to do 3 stages. So the next step we do will be the end of stage 1. We're going to stitch, edge stitch to the front of our plant to our zipper. Okay, that's the next step that we're doing. To be able to, so that's what you'll see at the end of the stage. The things to pay attention to is you'll notice that there's a little underlap section at the bottom of that zip when we stitch it on. That's what we need to maintain. So as we're stitching down this edge of these teeth, we don't want to be stitching onto the inside of our pant. We're actually stitching on the underlap, which is on the inside of our seam allowance. That's the tricky part. That's probably the most common thing that people miss or don't get or understand, and it takes a little bit to get your head around it. Okay, so that's where we're going to end up. To start off, we go over to our iron and we lay it down flat, and we give this side pull the facing back onto the wrong side, and we press a really crispy seam into that on the iron. Make sure that you don't have too much seam allowance and you don't have it rolling to the wrong side. You need to literally make it and your bluffing will help with that. Press it so it's a really crisp seam. On the other side, which is the side this is the side we're going to stitch to our teeth on our zipper tape, we're going to press under. So what we're pressing back and under is just our overlocking. So I know that we have a centimetre seam allowance here, but what we're doing is we're pressing just our overlocking. By the time we include, when you flick it over and see the bottom part, by the time you include that underlap, that's your centimetre seam allowance, which you'll see at the end. Okay? So the first thing we did is we go to the iron, we press crispy seam of our facing. On the other side, we press just back our overlocking, and we press down to the end of our facing. At the end of our facing, you can stop pressing, but somewhere around the end, as long as you go to the distance of the end of the facing, you're fine. We're then going to grab our zip tape, and we're going to that section that we've just pressed under. We're going to put up next to our teeth. Alrighty. We're going to pull down our zipper pull a little bit of a direction, because we need to make sure when we're pinning this, when we're pinning our zipper, that folded edge right next to our tape, distance between the top of the stopper and that cut edge needs to be 15 mils. Okay, 1.5 centimetres. So let's just make sure it is. Get out your tape measure it, make sure it's exactly 15 mils. The different distance between the top of the stopper and that cut edge of our pant, of our waist seam allowance, is 15 mils. Once we've got, mine isn't quite 15. Okay, and it's right up next to the teeth. Okay, so I'm going to pin him in place. Pin him in place. Now the reason I've pulled my zipper pull out of the way, because my zipper foot will not stitch next to my zipper pull. It won't let me, it'll just jam. Notice that I'm pinning it all the way down to the bottom of the zip tape. So I've pushed that folded edge, which goes into my underlap section. I've pinned it all the way down, pulled my zipper pull out of the way, put my zipper foot on. You'll notice that this is my new zipper foot. Taken off my old foot, put my zipper foot on. And now I'm going to literally stitch right next to those teeth all the way down. Right up that folded edge right next to my teeth, and I'm stitching right next to that folded edge all the way down. I'm going to get about halfway. I'm going to put my needle down in my fabric, lift up my foot using my knee, then I can zip that zipper pull out of the way, and then I can keep stitching. Make sure when you do that, your needle should be down in your fabric so it doesn't move around. As I go, I'm pulling my... Now, as I get to the bottom of this, you'll notice that there's extra bulk with the seam now being on my right hand side. So as I stitch, it's going to want to push me off of that seam. So I've actually got to be a bit brutal with it and force it to stay on track. So force it to come up, because it's a zipper foot, so it's a one-sided foot, so it's going to want to push off like it is. Come on, baby, you can do it. You might need to walk it through if it doesn't want to behave. Reverse it up. Doesn't want to reverse up for me. Okay, do your back tack, and then you can pull it out. Okay, so depending on your machine might not be very happy with you, but you need to force it to come up and stay on that edge. Trim off my tails like I always do. So as I've stitched down right along the edge of those teeth all the way to that underlap, remember, if you're not sure what I mean by underlap, press down, press under that overlocking only just as much as the overlocking, so 6 mils max. Come show me and I can talk it through with you. So where did we start? We started by going to the iron and we pressed under that seam. We pressed under our 6 mils all the way down. We then put that 6 mil overlocking edge right up against my teeth, made sure the gap between the top of the stopper and that top cut edge is 15 millimeters, and then I stitched, changed my foot to my zipper foot, stitched all the way down to my zipper tape and back tacked it top and the bottom. Okay, I want you to do that for me, and that's the end of stage 1. Okay, end of stage 1. So you need to get 1 to at least that stage.